Make some space for another star on that flag, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, we have a 51st state, Venezuela. On January 3rd, 2026, we watched the USA attack their capital city, Caracas, targeting residential areas and blowing random civilians to smithereens in order to create chaos and distraction, allowing the US Army to topple the government, arrest and extract their president, and take control of Venezuela, apparently.
We are going to run the country.
The former president Maduro has been kidnapped and flown directly to the land of freedom by the USA's Delta Force. During the extraction, he was seemingly in good spirits, staying hydrated, all whilst wearing a full Nike Tech tracksuit. I assume he was also listening to SD Kid, and he's now locked behind bars in New York City. Just like some of my goats, bruh. Just like some of my all-time goats. He's being held in the DEA building alongside his wife. They are both charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy and cocaine importation conspiracy. However, everyone should really be able to see through these charges. Like, what, I'm supposed to sit here and genuinely believe the man who attended Diddy parties and Epstein parties and was caught on camera looking like this is opposed to cocaine importation? No way, bro. No fucking way. I actually think Trump came up with this whole story about him consuming 1 million cans of Coke a day, the drink, just to hide any accidental slip-ups he says about his actual drug addiction. Well, I know who Trump's plug is. I know who's selling him that product, alright? I know it all. It's this guy, the former president of Honduras. For reference on a map, this is Venezuela, this is Honduras, and this is the United States of America, baby. This guy, the ex-leader of Honduras, well, a few days after his presidency ended, the USA arrested and convicted him as one of the largest cocaine traffickers in the entire Western Hemisphere. The whole Western Hemisphere, okay? This guy was Gus. He personally distributed over 400 pounds of packet into the USA. Donald Trump pardoned him 1 month ago. This is because MAGA wants his allies to rule Honduras and do some favors for them, like maybe a casual, chill, couple prison camps, maybe. I don't know, just a couple prison camps, bro. Nothing to worry about. We'll pardon your guy as long as you build us some prison camps, okay? Deal? Also, America are interested in Honduras's natural resources. That's right, if you think Maduro's arrest has anything to do with drug trafficking, despite the guy's Nike Tech fleece, okay, you thought wrong. The real reason for America's extremely illegal act of war here in Venezuela is oil. You know it, I know it. Even Hubert from Gooberville, Arkansas, who voted for Trump to stop the woke agenda, knows it. We all know it. In his press conference, Trump officially announced that he's taken control of all Venezuela's oil reserves. I've given the green light to all American oil companies that want to go drill, 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 baby, drill.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe.
You know what makes me kind of doubt that claim? That all the Venezuelans are gonna get rich. They're gonna be balling when I dig up all this oil. Well, Trump has already shown that when it comes to Venezuelan oil, he will just steal it for himself. Yeah, Trump has actually genuinely committed piracy before. About a month ago, back in December, I think, he stole an entire Venezuelan oil tanker.
Speaking of Venezuela, oil. What are we going to do with the oil that we have?
Going to do with what?
The oil that has been seized. The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th.
We're going to keep it. We're keeping it.
Where's it? Are we going to sell it or put it in the strategic
Maybe
oil
we'll sell
reserve?
it. Maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves. We're keeping it. we're keeping the ships also.
This is a completely illegal international robbery. Also, it was an act of piracy under international law. This motherfucker is a pirate. Orange beard, no beard, maybe, I don't know. But he is, by definition, a pirate now. But the US faced zero backlash from any international organizations or any important countries. It's almost like he did that back in December just to test the waters. Literally. How much blatant crime is the world gonna let me get away with? Can I just go in and steal their oil? Can I just go in and arrest their president? No one's gonna stop me. No one. And of course, the end goal of this evil villain arc is pirating the entire country's oil. Not just one or two tankers of oil. No, all of Venezuela now belongs to America. Welcome to the USV. Now, some of you might be like, Venezuela has oil? I thought it was only the other genre of brown people that had goddamn oil. How'd you say it? Arabs. No, not only do Venezuela have oil, they actually have the largest proven oil reserves in the entire fucking world. So why doesn't it look like Dubai? On paper, Venezuela should be the greatest country on earth, right? They have the most beautiful nature ever, such a vibrant culture and history, such a delicious cuisine, arepas, quesillo, and Jamaica. I'm tapped in, bro. And they're so rich in natural resources, it's actually unbelievable. Venezuela should be the best country on earth, but so what went wrong? The political party Maduro and his predecessor Chavez were in took over 27 years ago, but before that, the US and European oil companies like Shell and BP operated in Venezuela. Unfortunately, these Western oil companies' policies in the region were slightly not very fair, a little bit mean, you know, maybe not the most ethical, and South America as a whole got very sick of companies like Shell. From the 1950s to the 1980s, Venezuela got incredibly rich on paper. Oil made up 95% of their export earnings. The Concorde flew into Caracas, which was a major business and luxury destination. That's the issue though, the word luxury. Whilst Venezuelan officials and Western companies got very rich very quick, the average Venezuelan didn't see any change in their lives at all, apart from prices going up. In 1930, a Venezuelan farmer made about $1 a day. In 1960, a Venezuelan farmer made about $2 a day, but over that time, the economy inflated by about 500%, meaning that $2 is actually worth way less than the original $1. And now, if you want to go buy a day's worth of food with that farmer's wage, you cannot afford it. But hey, don't worry, you can go look at a cool skyscraper in Caracas, the capital city. Oh wait, you actually can't, because the Venezuelan government didn't even build roads or any infrastructure for many of the poorer regions back then. Unless there's oil underneath your village, then we'll happily blow the entire thing to smithereens and drill away. And even then, the locals received no compensation, no share of the oil profits. Most of the nation's wealth was hoarded by an elite 1% until Chavez and Maduro, the Venezuelan socialist dictators who have run the country ever since Chavez was elected in 1999. And let me tell you, they've done some naughty things, these boys. These boys have been very naughty boys. They increased taxes for big companies. They made all oil projects majority state-owned. This reduced Western corporate power, and way more profits got wired directly to the Venezuelan state, baby. And then all that was left to do was fairly invest all this money equally throughout the country, build millions of homes, build up amazing public transport, healthcare services, school systems, socialist utopia, man, which absolutely did not fucking happen. Chavez and his whole Venezuelan government suspiciously managed to lose loads of money. My dog ate the banknotes, bro. I'm sorry, my dog ate all the money, bro. It is what it is, man. And then the government didn't have enough capital to successfully implement these massive China-level social projects we're talking about. And all the oil companies left. ExxonMobil, Shell, BP, Chevron, Petro-Canada, they all left, taking with them their advanced technology and expertise. On their way out, they kind of sabotaged the entire country's oil production capacity, since they could simply find oil elsewhere, and they had no reason to meet Chavez or Maduro in the middle and accept terms that were favorable for the Venezuelan people, or realistically, the Venezuelan state. This led to a massive oil brain drain. Venezuelans went abroad to Dubai, for example, for favorable oil jobs, whilst many of Venezuela's reserves simply just became economically or technically unusable, and then they broke and they became unmendable. So a lot of these reserves haven't been touched in decades, meaning they still got fucking shitloads of oil in them, son. Are you ready for freedom and eagles and Burger Kings? I know you are.
No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night.
And I can understand why a lot of people are cheering for this. It must be very nice for a lot of Venezuelans to see Maduro in that damn tech fleece on the way to jail, and probably a death penalty. But just because America are taking down a regime you don't agree with doesn't make America the good guy here. You have to have such a smooth brain to believe that this is a good versus evil situation. Pretty much no war is ever like that, but specifically Trump versus Maduro is literally just shit versus shit, okay? When Trump says, we're gonna run Venezuela until they can run it for themselves.
We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place.
That just translates to, I'm gonna steal all their oil till we install a leader who can steal all their oil for us. And when my thirst is sufficiently quenched, we just withdraw completely and leave the highly armed population to revolt against each other, have a million civil wars, have a massive power vacuum, then radical groups arise, and the country gets plunged into complete and absolute chaos and destruction, so we can take advantage of them forever and ever and ever. Ha 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 ha. The difference between the evil of Maduro and the evil of Trump, though, is that Venezuela wasn't really gonna start terrorizing the entire earth and militarily forcing everyone to bend to their wills, were they? They weren't really pulling the strings of the globe. However, that's obviously what Trump's going for here, which gets even clearer when you realize China's diplomats were in Venezuela's capital when America invaded and bombed Venezuela's capital. America are clearly trying to show off that if anyone goes against us, cuts deals with those dirty Chinese diplomats, we will simply arrest your ass and take you to go see Luigi Mangione, okay?
Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region.
It's like the Monroe Doctrine. The entire Western Hemisphere belongs to America. It's all the USA's sphere of influence. No other big powerful nations, China, are allowed to intervene in the Americas.
Our own hemisphere.
And the US reserves the right to oppose outside influence in the region. This is exactly what Trump just enacted by choosing to invade Venezuela and depose their fucking president, whilst China's entire diplomatic team were on a state visit to Venezuela. And I didn't even realize, because I didn't watch the entire press conference, but this guy Trump actually was like quoting the Monroe Doctrine in the press conference, and he very clearly has no idea what the Monroe Doctrine is.
Back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines, and the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Donroe Document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine.
What?
So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere.
Because Trump's regime messed up their economic global policy so badly, they're now attempting to switch over to a military global dominant agenda of terror, I guess, just to get their way, where they force policy on the entire world through military action, not through economic or diplomatic normal methods, which is why I kind of disagree when people are like, oh, Trump is the lesser evil when compared to Maduro. Are you not factoring in who America's allies are, and that America is setting a precedent for all its allies to just do whatever they want now? I personally was not scared of fucking Maduro doing that. He didn't exactly pose a massive threat to the earth, you know? For us in the West, we should be a lot more worried about Trump, right? Because what? He's just allowed to be like, no Chinese diplomats for you, sir. Or you.
Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to from now on do trade in their own currencies, in their own currencies, in their own currencies. Get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. Totally. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them. Currencies other than the dollar. That we won't have the ability to sanction them.
Oh, God forbid a country trading in their currency and not having to go through America to do deals that don't involve America slightly. And obviously sanctions don't seem to hold the kind of power this guy thinks they do, because otherwise why would America have suddenly shifted to, instead of using tariffs, using violence and coups and regime changes like they've done in Venezuela, like they've threatened countless South American countries with over the last few days. Also, I'm just hearing that he's done this to Denmark as well.
He felt very strongly we need it for we need Greenland for national security, not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need it for national security. We have to have it.
Take your hands off Greenland, Donald Trump. If you make aspirations to steal Greenland from the EU and Denmark in the middle of the night with your cowardly acts as you have done in Venezuela, you will face the full consequences of international law. Is that clear, Donald Trump? United States. You cannot go around stealing countries in the night. We will not allow this. And may I remind you, we also have a very powerful military in the EU, and if you force our hand, as you are doing now, we will unleash the full potential of the German army once more, which is not something.
This is quite a sensitive topic in America though. You might not want King Trump himself knowing you're watching this right now. I mean, you could be on the next flight to El Salvador as far as I'm concerned, mate. That's right. Did you really think you could get away with having a video like this in your internet history without getting your IP address raided by special forces? No way! But what if I told you right now you could just switch your IP address and prevent anyone from ever monitoring your internet activity from now onwards? All you need is CyberGhost VPN. I use this VPN myself, not even joking, every day. Thanks to these guys for helping me out and also sponsoring this video. But this should really be a no-brainer for you guys. I mean, just put some trust in the over 38 million loyal users worldwide that CyberGhost has, one of which being me. Because even on incognito mode, your internet service provider, your school or work's IT department, your home Wi-Fi router, anyone with access can track what you do online. But with CyberGhost VPN, simply select one of their over 100 locations to encrypt and reroute all of your traffic through a foreign server.
French Bosch, Le Bosch, Spanish Bosch, Il Bosch, German Bosch, Z Bosch, Greek Bosch, Yamas Bosch, Welsh Bosch, Boyle Bosh, Scottish Bosh, McBosh.
This also means using CyberGhost unlocks geo-restricted games, content from over 40 streaming platforms, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, you name it. CyberGhost works on all devices and operating systems, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, plus you can always protect up to 7 devices at the same time. Share it with your friends and family, you know? All this for $2.03 a month. Plus you get 4 months for free, which is 84% off. Yup, CyberGhost have given me a crazy deal for you guys. Please go sign up using that link in description. It really helps me out too. It would help me fund and make more videos like this in the future. And most importantly, there is a 45-day money-back guarantee. So you literally have nothing to lose. And CyberGhost would not be offering you that if their product was bad. So give it a shot. You know which American president also chose this route? Which American president had this same approach to foreign policy? Bush. Here's a side-by-side comparison of America's TV coverage right before attacking Iraq versus right before attacking Venezuela.
We're giving them full opportunity to do it the easy way. And when it doesn't work, we'll do it the hard way.
If we can do things the easy way, that's fine. And if we have to do it the hard way, that's fine too.
Chemical weapons is a threat to the United States.
Sentinel poses a chemical weapons threat to the United States.
Al-Qaeda inside Iraq.
Al-Qaeda of our hemisphere.
If we can get rid of Saddam, it could really begin to transform the region.
There's an opportunity to transform the entire region.
Bringing freedom and democracy.
Democracy and freedom can serve as a
beacon of hope.
Shock.
The Iraq War is actually such recent history in the great scheme of things that you have the same US senators now advocating for war against Venezuela that also were advocating for war against Iraq. The same people, the same guys. And they know exactly how Iraq ended, don't they? But just trust me, bro, this time it will be different. This time it will be so different.
Saddam Hussein's a threat to my country. He's a threat to our way of life. He needs to go.
Maduro is an existential threat to the people of the United States.
It is time for Maduro to go.
That's right, y'all were talking about, 2026 about to be the new 2016. Nope, 2026 is about to be the new 2003, bro. Yup, both started with regime changes with a questionable justification, something like chemical weapons of destruction. In Maduro's case, that weapon is apparently fake. But both conflicts are essentially just oil. I call them the essential oils. The 2003 invasion of Iraq lacked UN Security Council authorization. The 2026 attack on Venezuela lacked any authorization, not just from the UN, but also from the fucking US government. Under the American Constitution that you guys care so much about, Congress holds the power to declare war or launch massive scale military operations against a foreign regime. I'm counting that as well, okay, for everyone who's gonna be like, but it wasn't a war, it wasn't a real invasion, bro. Shut up! Congress was not consulted about any of this military operation. There was no authorization vote. Marco Rubio said, "We did not have time to consult Congress on this one," aka we had to attack when Chinese diplomats were still in Venezuela, and no one in their right mind would have allowed us to do this. Essentially, to Trump, Congress is functionally meaningless. Same with the UN. Under the UN Charter, the use of force against a sovereign nation is prohibited, except in very, very rare cases. That's why so many governments across Europe, Latin America, the entire globe have heavily condemned Trump, highlighting how dangerous of a president he has set. America doing regime changes around the world never ever works. It never works, okay? Especially recently, America should know very well that militarized regime change just lets evil, much worse groups get motion within these power vacuums, and then the US sees these new big bad groups and declares war on them, and a bunch of Americans or Iraqis or maybe even Venezuelans for no reason. Time and time again this happens. Time and time again the only people who benefit are Western elites, weapons manufacturers, politicians, stockbrokers. Who do you think really ended up with all that gold America secretly stole from Iraq, dude? Who do you think ended up benefiting from all that oil? Maybe the oil companies, maybe? Who really benefited from the Middle East being completely destabilized? You're not gonna bring those guys into it, are you? No. Never look up who tested testified that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. I wonder who that guy was. I'm saying the average American didn't really benefit from the Middle East being destabilized. That didn't affect the fucking potholes in your road in Arkansas, did it? In Gooberville, Arkansas. Your life didn't really change that much then, did it? Apart from maybe oil prices going up, as I'm sure a lot of you unks lived through. Oil prices in America actually went up lots during the Iraq war, didn't they? And Iraq is actually an extremely good comparison to look at here, because at first, the American military's involvement was widely celebrated. The overthrow of Saddam was seen as this amazing thing, not only by Westerners, also by Iraqis, just like in Venezuela and in the West right now. But we all know how it ended. We all remember that, right? 1 million Iraqis dead, Iraq completely destroyed, not a single trace of a weapon of destruction found, the rise of ISIS, years and years and years of future wars, the entire region destabilized, decades and decades of refugees fleeing the Middle East and causing what right-wing Europeans would nowadays call an invasion, mate, an fucking invasion. A bunch of homeless, disabled, PTSD addicted veterans and massive inflation in the West. That's how Iraq ended for America. Love Saddam or hate Saddam, the 2003 war set an incredibly bad precedent for the world. We are still seeing the horrible consequences to this day. For example, as I said, mass immigration away from this whole war-torn, dangerous, destroyed, poor area into the West. I mean, a lot of Americans really seem to dislike any immigration over their southern border right now. My advice to you guys would be, maybe don't support an illegal occupation and illegal warfare just south of your border then. That might stop people from fleeing over the southern border, you know? But that's just like how love Maduro or hate Maduro.
Venezuela. Gracias, Maduro. Miren, boca de agua y me dieron aquí. Esperma. Gracias, Maduro.
Trump's illegal attack and regime change still sets an extremely bad precedent for the rest of the world. For example, what about America's biggest allies, Israel? If you don't already know, there is a big undeveloped natural gas field right offshore of Gaza. I'm sure you can maybe connect the dots here. And once Israel's biggest supporter, the US, sets a precedent that any Western nation can do shit like this, well, what's stopping Israel from taking fucking Lebanon or Syria or the rest of Palestine just like that? Or could we see Netanyahu overthrowing and installing leaders in Iraq or Syria, as they've already low-key attempted? And then America has to just accept it, because using the Venezuela logic, we need to develop the resources. The poor resources haven't been developed in decades. We need to install leaders who know how to drill for the greater good of the Syrian Israeli people, or maybe even the Venezuelan American people. Oh wait, no, wait. Don't tell me there's
the Prime Minister of the State of Israel.
I promise one day we'll have a close relationship between Venezuela and Israel.
I myself look forward to visit the State of Israel as soon as we conquer freedom. We will prevail.
The implications here are really great for the Venezuelan people.
בוונצואלה אני רוצה להביע את תמיכת הממשלה כולה בהחלטה הנחושה והפעולה הנחושה של ארצות הברית להחזיר חירות וצדק גם לאזור הזה של העולם. אני חייב להגיד שבכלל באמריקה הלטינית כרגע יש מהפך שקוראים אותו בכמה וכמה מדינות שחוזרות לציר האמריקני ולא במפתיע גם לקשר עם מדינת ישראל. אנחנו מברכים על כך,
We're saved! What's your name, new hero?
It's Titan.
Thank you. Thank you. Titan has freed us!
Oh, I wouldn't say free. More like under new management.
Venezuela's opposition to Maduro, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, not the FIFA Peace Prize winner, easily confused, she genuinely pledged that if the USA liberates Venezuela and props her up as the leader as one of her first most important reforms, she will move the Venezuelan embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. She also said as soon as the country's liberated, I will visit Israel. What? What are you trying to be? Mayor of New York? She's obviously just playing to Trump and Netanyahu, as she knows this is all they fucking care about. Jerusalem is Israel. Jerusalem is rightfully Israel. Bro, you're from fucking Venezuela. Who invited this guy, bro? Who invited your Venezuelan ass into this conversation, man? Seriously, Nobel Peace Prize winner, by the way. Sounds very peaceful to me. Here's a fun fact about me and my bloodline that some of you may know. No joke, I'm actually like a direct descendant, a direct relative of Alfred Nobel. So I think I have the right to disqualify this woman's Nobel Prize, alright? I'm officially doing it, okay? Also, she's thought to be hiding out in Russia right now, seeking refuge and like waiting to be installed in Venezuela. And with all of the Russian boats and business interests conveniently leaving Venezuela right after the American attack, it's looking quite likely that this whole Venezuela situation has something to do with Ukraine. Trump may have essentially said, Mr. Putin, let's do a deal. You get to take more of Ukraine, we get to take more of Venezuela. Russia was very involved in Venezuela right up until Trump's intervention, let's say. So I've seen a lot of people bouncing this theory about it could just be schizo. I don't know. Very sus though, I'll say that. And by the way, I will be releasing a very in-depth video about the I-word topic and what I was just talking about very soon, so look out for that. This video was kind of last minute, as I'm sure you can tell. Trump also had some very important things to say about this topic in some of his other press conferences. I'll give you a great example here.
I want to really, when she gets in,
What? Just to outline how irresponsible America's special military operation in Venezuela was, here's the air traffic control recording of a JetBlue flight which was taking off from Curacao, an island right off the Venezuelan coast. This plane almost crashed into the American Air Force refueling plane because they were just flying around the airspace with their radar turned off.
We just had traffic pass directly in front of us within 5 miles of us, maybe 2-3 miles, but it was an air-to-air refueler from the United States Air Force. We're heading off to the northeast right now. They passed directly in our flight path. We had to stop our climb. They are not painting. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous.
Yes, I don't have anything on my scope.
If you can make a note of it, we almost had a mid-air collision up here.
Do you understand how dangerous this is, bro? We're talking like 10-20 seconds away from one of the worst disasters in plane history, okay? One of the worst plane crashes ever to date. Hundreds of American holidaymakers unknowingly almost got turned into pulp directly at the hands of Trump making critical decisions from his war room. Yeah, bro, sure. There's even religious justifications for America to seize Venezuela's oil, apparently, with MAGA pastors preaching shit like this in the last week.
They say you have seized Venezuela for the oil. Yes, this is true, that there is that which has been brought to the forefront of this earthly battle. But the enemy has sought and was seeking to bring war.
What?
And to bring conflict.
What?
Through Venezuela.
What?
And to control the oil of the earth.
What?
But the spiritual oil.
What?
And the natural oil does not belong to the forces of darkness.
What?
Or to those who thought that they could bring a one world order.
What?
This is my reset.
What?
And the oil of the natural and the oil of the spirit is mine, says the Lord.
Actually, all levels of American society are involved in Venezuela somehow. Even the rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine, remember him?
When they sent me to prison on Tuesday, me and Maduro's gonna be in the same unit.
Really?
Yeah, cause remember the president of Honduras was in my unit, and the president of Honduras was just released 3 weeks ago. He was pardoned by President Trump, and I'm gonna show you real quick.
And we looked at each other with respect, with consideration, of course. Two different worlds. He was very extroverted and very cheerful.
Trump's director of national intelligence back in 2019 actually had the Venezuela situation pretty spot on, I think.
What we are hearing is an increased saber-rattling intention saying the United States needs to send in the U.S. military now to wage yet another wasteful, counterproductive regime change war, and once again it's being done under the guise of humanitarianism. When we look throughout history, every time the United States goes into another country and topples a dictator or topples a government, the outcome has been disastrous for the people in these countries. That's why we should use our leadership in the world to try to broker a diplomatic solution. I can tell you as a soldier, Martha, I've seen firsthand the high cost of war, and pushing for this civil war, pushing for the use of military force will only end up with more suffering and death and disaster for the Venezuelan people.
See, this is what people voted for Trump for. He ran on no new wars and then instantly changed the name of the Department of Defense into the Department of War. Imagine if I ran for president and I said, I'm not gonna allow coffee. I'm gonna make coffee illegal. And then when I got in, I had a Department of Coffee. I made a Department of Coffee. This is how gullible these Americans are. I can't believe it. Trump will do a complete 180 on policy and people will still support it. Look now, you got Trump saying Mexico and Colombia have to watch out. He's itching to start new wars.
Colombia is producing a lot of they have factories that they make, as you know, and they sell it right into the United States. So he better wise up or he'll be next. He'll be next too. And I hope he's listening. He's going to be next.
This is literally like Ronald Reagan war on drugs type shit. Haven't we already accepted that this stuff doesn't work? It doesn't matter if you invade and indiscriminately bomb Venezuela. It doesn't matter if you do that to Colombia or Brazil or anyone. Americans are still gonna do. Americans' other demand for this kind of logic means that anyone who's ever done should fucking bomb themselves. Have you ever done any drug, bro? Bomb yourself. Let off a bomb in your living room, bro. And if so, I think we gotta actually drop a nuke on the White House, because not only did they previously house one of America's most prolific drug addicts. I mean, come on. This video of Trump, dude. I'm pretty sure he had half of Colombia in his bloodstream then. Same can be said for a lot of Pete Hegseth's track record, and I'm sure everyone else in Trump's team. But the obvious fact is, none of this is because of drugs, is it? And the only other justification for the arrest of Maduro they seem to be able to come up with is that he was authoritarian. And to address this as a justification for war, well, Trump himself is scarily authoritarian, no question about it. As I've said, under the Constitution, Congress holds the power to declare war. Congress was not consulted about any of this military operation. There was no authorization vote. ICE do not have to follow any of the constitutional rights you get if you're arrested in America. They can detain you without giving any badge number. They don't have a body cam. They don't have to read you your Miranda rights. They don't need a warrant. They don't need to identify their faces. They don't need to give you any reason for the arrest. Nothing. ICE agents get debt relief from Trump if you sign up to ICE. They remove the debt you're struggling with. But doctors and teachers and no other valuable job titles get this privilege, meaning it's more honorable and it's more incentivized and better paid to be a masked secret police agent than an actual productive member of society. This is the type of state militia we see arise in authoritarian regimes all the time throughout history. Trump does this to American politicians too. He literally offered to drop Eric Adams's corruption charges if Eric Adams cooperated with ICE and let ICE operate in New York, which is so blatantly corrupt that the US attorney Trump had just appointed resigned instantly in protest. Since you Americans care about your free speech and your Constitution and your First Amendment so goddamn much, then please explain to me this.
We have to apply pressure at all points that we can. This is not just a foreign issue, it's our tax dollars that are also being used to commit these crimes. It is also the duty of us, the people, to stand against the Trump regime, the Trump administration that are committing crimes both here in the US and against people in Venezuela.
Now, in the background of this interview, you could see that police car, and now right here we're showing you video we have. Immediately after the interview finished, Plickta was arrested by 2 Grand Rapids police officers. You can see it in the video, and an officer tells Plickta that she is being arrested for obstructing a roadway and failure to obey a lawful command. A police officer, you can see as she's taken away in that car.
That's the First Amendment, bro. Trump isn't out here defying the 25th or 26th Amendment. He's limiting the First Amendment, the one you guys should care about the most. These are just random examples, but it's obviously so clear this man acting like he's on some noble quest to stop authoritarianism. It's comical. That'd be like me declaring war on white people. I'm about as white as it possibly gets, okay? Looking at South America, Trump has 3 favorites: El Salvador, Argentina, and Honduras. We're talking absolutely gigantic bailouts, pardons for crimes, the exact crimes he's supposedly invading Venezuela to prosecute. And don't forget the establishment of massive prison compounds to hold American prisoners in secrecy with no fair trial and no human rights whatsoever. This all costs a lot, even if you ignore all the ethics. It's very expensive to do stuff like this. Also, he's hinting about escalating the Department of War's activity in the region. Lots. Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil all look like likely targets for future wars. And there we have it. Trump's regime primarily ran on 4 things. 1, no sending money abroad, keeping all that money in the USA. 2, no new wars. 3, secure the border, no more immigration. 4, no more pedophiles. These were Trump's big 4 benefits for you guys. And in return, you fucking idiots got an unprecedented amount of money being sent abroad just to Argentina's lunatic chainsaw-wielding Elon Musk fanboy who bankrupted his own entire nation instead of starving children. No, I think this guy's way more deserving of the bread. And also in return, you fucking idiots got many new potential wars and many new potential lifelong global conflicts involving America. Just this time, they're much closer to the US border than the Middle East. And because these lethal, terrifying, unpredictable US military actions are taking place so close to the USA, just south of the border, you know what that means? Immigrants coming to the US via the southern border. I mean, if you were a poor Venezuelan dad fishing for a living to feed your entire family because God knows oil won't, and there's a pretty high chance you get nuked into oblivion for simply looking suspicious and being located on a boat, you'd probably flee the country as well, wouldn't you? Colombia is currently deploying massive amounts of guards on the border of Venezuela because people are fleeing Venezuela in unprecedented numbers. This is the entire reason the USA gets immigrants from South America. If you don't want immigrants, you probably shouldn't make life hell for South Americans. Boat strikes, bombing capital cities, stealing oil, etc., etc. It creates a never-ending cycle of violence and economic violation, then immigrants fleeing to America, then America having a scapegoat for their problems, which is perfect for Trump as it hides all his downfalls. It makes everyone focus elsewhere. I mean, I haven't thought about those Epstein files in a minute, you know? It's almost like the exact day the deadline to give Congress an explanation for the Epstein file redactions was the same day America attacked Venezuela. This video will definitely have some algorithmic problems on this platform, so if you want to help support me, please, engagement farm, spam any of these buttons, just hit them, mash them, like, comment. I would really appreciate that. Subscribe to help me ratio Netanyahu by 10x. This is my big goal. And I'm gonna close us off with some outro music, and if you like the sound of the outro music, it will be linked in the description. Can you believe it? Okay, bye. Don't forget to click that link in the description to get the special discount CyberGhost VPN is granting for our channel users. This app will protect your data whilst you browse and give you full access to all blocked content on the internet for just $2.03 a month only. Totally risk-free. Check it out. Link in the description.